The moon has always fascinated humanity. But have all the questions really been answered? Could the images from the Apollo missions be pointing to something we're not supposed to see?
Really is. Oh, geez, that's great. Is the lighting halfway decent? Yes, indeed. They've got the flag up now, and you can see the stars and stripes on the lunar surface. Up now, and you can see the stars and stripes on the lunar surface. Beautiful, just beautiful.
The waving flag, the missing stars, the strange shadows.
Oh, geez, that's
These
great.
stories have become cliches.
Yes, indeed. They've got the flag up now, and you can see the stars and stripes on the lunar surface. Up now, and you can see the stars and stripes on the lunar surface. Beautiful, just beautiful.
But today we go beyond, into deeper mysteries you've probably never heard of. Ufologist Richard C. Hoagland believes he found ancient towers, domes, even massive glass structures on NASA's moon photos. He claims these may be remnants of a lost civilization or alien constructions still active today.
Of significant importance at Launch Complex 39 of the Kennedy Space Center was that Apollo 10 was the first space vehicle launched from Pad B. The 4 previous Apollo Saturn V space vehicles had been launched from Pad A. Also, in the Launch Control Center at Complex 39, a third firing room was used for the first time. The utilization of these facilities brought Complex 39 to a full operational level with a dual launch pad capability. The final countdown for Apollo 10 was begun on May 17th and proceeded without any major holds. Dr. Kurt Davis and Rocco Petrone headed the launch team. Following fueling of the mighty Saturn launch vehicle and the Apollo spacecraft, the 3 astronauts arrived at the launch pad. At T-minus 2 hours and 40 minutes, the crew entered the White Room atop the launch tower and prepared to board the spacecraft. The final countdown events were monitored by some 550 government and industry personnel in the Launch Control Center. These included Dr. George E. Miller, head of the Manned Spaceflight Program, Lieutenant General Sam Phillips, director of the Apollo program, and Dr. Werner von Braun, director of the Marshall Space Flight Center, which developed the Saturn V launch vehicle. The Vice President of the United States, Spiro Agnew, and a number of national and international dignitaries were also present at the Space Center to witness the launch of the Apollo moon rocket. These included the King and Queen of Belgium and many United States senators and congressmen. The launch date and liftoff time for Apollo 10, established 4 months before launch, were selected to obtain the same lighting conditions on the moon that will be required for the actual first lunar landing mission. As the clock approached 12:49 p.m. on Sunday afternoon, May 18, 1969, the countdown for the moon-bound Apollo 10 space vehicle reached ignition precisely on schedule.
Guidance internal, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. Engines on, 5, 4, 3, 2. All engines running.
Roger, roll. Your go, trajectory and guidance look good.
Roger, we look right on the line on board.
Your go for staging 10. What a ride, man, what a ride.
Man, that staging was quite a sequence.
Right, sounded like it.
the three-stage Saturn V launch vehicle performed perfectly to place Apollo 10 into an Earth parking orbit of 117 by 114 miles.
Amateur astronomers have captured strange lights moving on the moon, sudden flashes, floating objects. Some call them transient lunar phenomena. Others call them UFOs. Today, we call them UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. The final liftoff of Atlantis on the shoulders of the space shuttle. America will continue the
Some
dream.
say the moon rocks brought back from Apollo missions contain strange, unknown elements. But scientists say they're just evidence of the moon's unique origin. They support the giant impact theory.
I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
My name is Kay Johnson. I went to work at NASA Ames in 1964. I was a biologist in the life detection branch, and I worked in the Lunar Biological Laboratory, which was specifically designed and built to look for microbial life in the Apollo 11 samples. So in order to go into the lab, we would have to walk through an air shower where everything would get blown off of us. You know, we had to be really careful that we didn't introduce a microbe into the samples and then falsely say that we'd found it. We were culturing the samples under 300 different environments, and there were 10 Petri dishes for each environment. Typically, the way you make Petri dishes is you have agar with different kinds of chemicals in it, depending upon what it is you're trying to culture. In one of the sequences, you can see the guy sort of running like a little pump, and then he's going from Petri dish to Petri dish, and that's just putting a certain amount of agar in each Petri dish. You would dump the sample in like there, so it falls onto this disc right underneath where the funnel is, and then you see them attach a hose, and that hose is high-pressure gas. Scatters it so you get a more uniform distribution of the lunar sample over the surface of the Petri dish. And then you would take the Petri dish and put it underneath the microscope. We only looked at the Petri dishes twice a week. You know, sometimes it would be me, sometimes it would be some of the other women. And that's how we examined the Petri dishes to see if there was anything growing on them.
There are whispers of sounds coming from the moon. Breathing, knocking, recorded during early missions. But scientists explain it all. Equipment noise, system feedback, or pressure changes inside the spacecraft.
When man journeys to the moon, he will use a large and complex transportation system. It's called Apollo Saturn. All told, the assembly is 363 feet high and at ignition weighs over 6 million pounds. Of this, the portion that will make the trip to the moon is the top 53 feet. The slender device at the very top is the launch escape system. If the launch is smooth and all systems operate properly, it is discarded early in the flight. The spacecraft consists of the command module, the service module, and the lunar module. The command module is crew quarters, cockpit, and headquarters for the 8-day voyage. This is the only portion of the spacecraft that will return to Earth. The atmosphere inside will be such that the astronauts will not have to endure the discomfort of wearing their bulky, pressure-tight spacesuits all the time. However, for safety and emergency reasons, one crew member will be in his spacesuit at all times. Directly below the command module is the service module. In a sense, this is the basement of the spacecraft. Here are the fuel cells that will generate the electricity required for the spacecraft, radio antennas, storage space for experimental equipment and tools, fuel and oxidizer tanks. Well, the service module also contains the main propulsion engine for lunar and Earth travel. As Apollo approaches the Earth, the service module is abandoned and the command module returns alone. At launch, the lunar module occupies the third position in the spacecraft. During the lunar trajectory, the command module and the service module fly out about 100 feet, turn around, and come back to dock with the lunar module. As the spacecraft approaches the moon, it looks like this. The lunar module actually consists of two vehicles. The descent stage, which is mainly the landing gear and an engine that is gimbaled and can be throttled. And the ascent stage, consisting of yet another engine and cockpit or cabin portion. After the lunar exploration period, the descent stage is left on the moon, as the ascent stage lifts to rendezvous with the command module. After the crewmen transfer to the command module, the lunar module is left in lunar orbit, as the command module is steered into its homeward course. Command, service, and lunar modules, each performing an important job as man reaches for the moon.
Is the moon just a rock in space? Or something more? These theories are not answers. They are questions. Science brings clarity, but mystery keeps us watching.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.